welcome to the post-race show for round number 8 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series Season 3. Tonight it was the Fix Auto Charlottetown 200 at the Brickyard, where for the third time this season it was the number 53 Tornado Alley E-Racing Chevy of Jonathan Peaden picking up the win. First two wins, of course, were on road courses, but now he's got himself a win at Indy to go along with it. So first off, Gator, congratulations on that. And I guess that just segues right into my first question. Obviously, the two road course wins were nice, but now that you've got one on a more traditional track, is that maybe a little bit more satisfying that you can show, that you can win on basically any kind of track that we've got to offer?
For sure. Right before the race, my team captain, Higgy, was saying, yeah, why don't you go win on the oval? And so that didn't take long to show him that I could do that. That felt good.
As it would. And now I know last time around we got into the whole Allen Iverson practice chat thing, and obviously a lot would have gone into that too. But obviously 3 wins in 8 races, and it just seems like you're kind of in the right place at the right time. So I guess the main question there is, again, like, outside of the kind of general idea of practice, what would you attribute this overall run of success to?
I really don't know. I play the game all the time, right? Like I have running every different day of the week. I run in a different league and just have really good teammates to practice with whenever we do get on to practice, or I'm calling practice, right? Running in other leagues. And
Mm-hmm.
so whenever we come over here, we feel comfortable with it. And the only thing that's different over here usually is the no cautions. So we have to like plan ahead on what our strategies are going to be going into that stage. And I think that may be one of the things, right, that I do better than not really knowing when this caution is going to come out. I can plan ahead. I think I'd say that's what I'm doing better.
Yeah, and like, obviously it's helped that, well, especially tonight anyway, you were able to kind of keep things clean here for the most part. But let's go back to kind of how things went down in that third and final stage. Obviously, anyone watching saw it was basically a group of 5 there at the very end for the last, say, 10 to 15 laps, a lot of jockeying between the 5 of you, and it looked like it could have been anybody's race at any point. So ultimately, how do you think you were able to pull it out?
Man, that was awesome. Um, I was working so hard. I went back and watched a little bit of the broadcast, the ending of it there, like you're saying. It was so fun to watch. And you could see that I was working with Mike as best I could to try to pull away to make it just a 2-car race there for the win. And he slipped up one time, so I tried to pass him so we didn't lose too much time. And he had other plans, so he wanted to race hard. And you said it on the broadcast. You could see how quick that next pack caught us. And as soon as they did, I knew that the whole rest of the race, it was going to be however many cars were in that pack is how many cars were going to have a shot for the win. And I saw that Darcy, I guess he wrecked or something after the pit stop. So that took one away, but then Chase Beatty showed up. And so there was still 5, 6 cars up there, right? That was awesome.
Yeah, it was certainly some of the more competitive racing that we've seen in a little bit, especially at the end of a race. Certainly, we've had some runs at different points, but in terms of an overall finish, I think that's one of the closer ones we've had in a little bit. And it was certainly trending that way last week at Gateway as well, whenever I think you were one of the 3 who kind of got caught up in that wreck there in stage 3. So was there any kind of thought back to that at any point as you were pursuing the win this time, or was it just kind of full steam ahead?
Yes, same thing, really. It's another loose track. So I'm riding behind Mike thinking, oh boy, let's not let what happened last week happen again. But
Yeah, and
he had a good car tonight, and I think he just pitted a little too early to have a real good shot there in the last 3 laps.
Yeah, and as I say, it seemed like it could have been pretty well anybody's race until, say, 2 to 3 laps to go. That's when it seemed like you kind of pulled out that little gap there on Jacob at the very end. So, again, we talked about, the overall satisfaction of being able to grab a victory on an oval here tonight, and obviously another 6 playoff points with the win and the stage victory here tonight. So, I guess like the first stage wasn't necessarily the greatest. So how were you able to kind of evolve the car over the course of the evening to find yourself in this position again?
Well, in qualifying, we only had 3 laps to run. In the first lap, I messed up. I decided to pit and try to get a good lap there at the end, but I was already lapped, so I didn't even get a lap in qualifying. So that's why I started in the back. And then since I was starting in the back and we already look ahead, see how long the stages are, I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and save from back here. And I knew other people were going to be saving the head shifters, but I did not think that they could run at the pace they were running and make it. And that was Sauce, Leo Jameson, and Jose Protege. And whenever I saw that they made it, I decided in stage two that I was going to have to try to stay towards the front and save, not fall all the way back like I did in stage one, started out in the back. And that seemed to work a lot better. And obviously, them two wrecking each other had a little bit of help too.
Yeah, that was quite the event at the start of the second stage as well. And I think you sort of touched on where I was going to go next, because obviously it is worth noting that you did start effectively from the back of the pack. And obviously, trying to kind of pick your way through the field as you had to do tonight, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, especially given the field that we've got. So I guess my question on that front is just kind of outside of the saving and the calculations that you were doing, how were you able to kind of keep your head in things as you were kind of taking guys out one by one?
Well, it was saving in stage one, and so they ended up pitting, right? And they'd pit and go a lap or so, and you'd see another couple cars pit, go another lap or so, couple more pit, and then next thing I know, I'm running third behind Sauce and Jose, but Sauce has got 15 seconds on me, and Jose's got like 10, so I knew I wasn't catching them. And I think I had Marini behind me, and I believe he ran out saving. So we were pushing it as far as we could. It wasn't like we had extra in the tank. That was very impressive by them to save as well as they did.
Yeah, and obviously it was an example that you wound up following as well on your way to, again, win number 3 of the season. And yeah, we talked a little bit about the chaos associated with Gateway last week. How's about Darlington next week?
It seems like every time we talk, the next track coming up is one that I don't care for, but I guess we'll see how it goes. If there's got fuel saving in it, maybe I'll do okay. On pure speed, I'm not sure how I'll be. Maybe top five or so, but I don't think I'll have a race winning car.
I was gonna say, I think you said that the last 2 times as well, and it turned out not too bad. So seems like you might get into a little bit of a rhythm here. But yeah, as I say, the Racing Carolina 250 is round number 9 of our regular season. That'll go next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, assuming that I actually get everything set up right on YouTube. And yeah, so it's going to be very interesting run. Again, just the 2 regular season races left now before we get into the playoffs. And obviously for you, John, this will be the final question here. It seems like obviously the 3 wins you've really had, fairly consistent form over the last month to 6 weeks. So what are you kind of looking at most importantly over the next couple of weeks to make sure you're going into the playoffs on a high?
Just stage wins, really, stage wins and race wins. If I don't have a shot at those, trying to figure out what this best strategy would be for the next stage. At road courses, if I'm not going to be finishing the stage up front, I know that I can pit early and be up front for the next stage. So maybe things like that. but I'm just going for playoff points at this point. Can't ever have too many of those.
No, absolutely not, especially with just the 2 races in each playoff round this year as opposed to 3. A little bit less margin for error here, and you're certainly well on your way here with, again, victory number 3 of the season here tonight. So once again, we'll say congratulations, and we will possibly see you again here, well, if not in the playoffs, maybe even before the regular season's over.
Alrighty, sounds good. I hope so.
Wide coming through the turn here. They're coming up to the line here now. Darcy Ford still got it. Ward trying to get inside though. Where's Ward going to come in? Darcy Ford. And there's the checkered flag. Darcy Ford. And indeed, as he comes through turn 4, he's going to see the checkered flag. And there it is. Scott Bailey is your winner of tonight's Fix Auto 250. They're going to get the white flag this time around. Final lap of tonight's track device number 125. And coming through. Oh, Marini went through. They're right on the back of each other. Paytack's going to get in on the inside. They're door to door. Paytack into the wall. Mike Marini, he's going to win. Got about 3 or 4 wide behind him on that back
There's
straight.
a lot of carnage right there.
Oh, dear.
A lot.